doesn't just own sprint cars. He's a regular driver of the cars, and he does very well with it. Of course, he's a past champion in USAC sprint car racing, and USAC midgets and USAC Silver Crown all in the same year, so it's kind of to be expected. But yeah, I mean, the amount of money they make, they could just stay in the finest hotels and eat the finest meals, but instead they're at the racetrack and they're eating hot dogs and fries with the rest of us. I think it's great.
You know, we talked about how lucky the fans are here to have these kind of racetracks. And I know you spent last night at the Grove. And what a weekend for the museum. What do you think of the Eastern Museum of Motor Racing?
Well, if you haven't seen the Eastern Museum, you need to go take a look at it. It is just absolutely one of the finest auto racing museums in this country, if not the world. And as far as sprint car racing goes, there is none better than the museum that Lynn Paxton and the people who work with him have put together, and that they continue to maintain. And now they've got an addition on the museum, and there's a lot more stuff in there. There's drag racing, which they didn't have before, and some stock cars there, but it's really mostly sprint cars and midgets. And you can see the progression of how the cars have developed from the very earliest of sprint car racing, and the engines, from the very earliest of sprint car racing up to what you're seeing here tonight. And you look at that progression and you wonder, how did this ever happen? It's a fabulous museum. Really, really worth going to see, and especially tomorrow. There's so much going on in the open house weekend.
Well, we have a couple of things to talk about there. First and foremost, you mentioned Lynn Paxton, of course, the Eastern Museum. They've done a lot of contributions to the Knoxville Museum as well, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. I understand that you may be looking at a museum of your own.
I better be looking at a museum. We've been working pretty hard to create a museum that would capture the history of auto racing in New England. The museum will go on either the property of or very close to the property of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's going to be an all New England museum. You're not going to see stuff that took place at Daytona or took place at the old Riverside Road course. It's going to be the stuff that took place in our part of the world. And that's very much us taking a page out of Lynn Paxton's book. What you'll see at the Eastern Museum is a lot of stuff that's Pennsylvania-based, sprint car-based, local stuff, people you've heard of, cars that you've seen pictures of. And we want to follow the same thing. Lynn Paxton absolutely is our inspiration, and the museum that you have here is what we strive for.
Well, we're looking forward to getting to that museum whenever we come up to the NASCAR races and those kind of things. We mentioned tomorrow a big event. Chris Economaki, the library will be named after him tomorrow, and between the two of you, you really have been the greatest ambassadors for the sport, but he was quite a guy, and I know you'll talk about him tomorrow.
Yeah, he was the dean. There's nobody else that has done as much and been as successful as a motorsports journalist. Chris Economaki's daughter, Corinne, is going to be there tomorrow, and there'll be a lot of special things. The library is so much bigger. It's really, really grown in the last several years, and there's a lot of Economaki stuff in there, too. So, yeah, tomorrow it gets named.
I don't know, you probably have the urge for us to hand you a microphone at the back of the pits. I did hear last night, hey, if you want me to talk, you're going to be finding me in the pits. That's your place.
Yeah, the pits are really where I'm the most comfortable. But I got to tell you, the view from up here and just looking out at this gorgeous dust-free racetrack with plenty of grooves, this is a pretty nice place to be.
Well, I know you've heard of Fred Putney before and the job he does on this racetrack. This racetrack is always ready at race time, and he does a fabulous job. But we just appreciate you being here, and we hope that your stay here at Lincoln is an enjoyable one.
Well, it's been a great time so far. Looking forward to the rest of the day.
Do we know what time it starts tomorrow?